Welcome, I'm Nina Gryphon, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel. Today we'll talk about the astrology of weeks 4 and 5 of September 2025. This covers Sunday, September 21st through Tuesday, September 30th. First off, I'd like to say thanks to all of my patrons. I appreciate all of your support. If you would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Gryphon, and you can get access to these forecasts early. At the highest tier, you'll also get access to my monthly Magical Elections ebook, which teaches you how and when to make astrological talismans. The number of elections for October is growing fast. We have 14 Jupiter and Cancer elections, 2 Venus and Libra elections, and 2 Mars and Scorpio elections. It is a bountiful month for magical elections indeed. September 21st, we start off with a partial solar eclipse at 29 Virgo. This eclipse at the last degree of Virgo will be visible in New Zealand, Tasmania, parts of the South Pacific, and Antarctica, so these areas would be impacted most directly. The famed 17th century astrologer William Lilly, drawing on Ptolemy, said that a solar eclipse in the last decan of Virgo pours down vengeance on poor poets, painters, or limners, and men mercurial, who flourish with excellent understandings. Nothing thrives with them, nor are their purses full. It produces murders, banishment, etc. It imposes on the vulgar writers of those times harsh conceptions and no esteem of their rude poems." End quote. It's important to recognize that this eclipse opposes Saturn in Pisces, and as such will likely harm whatever or whoever is Saturnian. As such, it is quite likely to be harmful to the elderly, whether as a class or specific older people. Saturn also represents those who rule alone, as Saturn is the highest planet among all those in the planetary spheres and the closest to the realm of the gods. The sense of an ending is especially so because it is a south node eclipse, which takes beings out of incarnation, contrasted with a north node, which pitches us into the realm of Maya. The eclipse opposes its own ruler, Mercury, by antition, underscoring Lilly's interpretation that it will be a particularly tough one on those who make their living in a mercurial manner, like writers, the press, people in business, and so forth. The remarkable thing about this eclipse is that it features 4 of the 7 classical planets in very late degrees of their signs: Sun and Moon at 29 Virgo, Saturn at 28 Pisces, and Mars at 29 Libra. The sense of finality and imminent change is written all over this chart, with a sense of the beginning of the end of something quite old and entrenched having to make way for a new era. September 22nd, Mars enters Scorpio. Mars enters his preferred domicile, Scorpio, now, and it is a powerful placement for Mars where he tends to hide his sting, rather than brandishing his horns in the open as he does in Aries. Scorpio is associated with hidden aggression through the means of poison, rather than open warfare. As a sign, Scorpio is associated with places that are toxic and unwholesome, reflecting the parts of the world and our own psyche that we do not wish to face. With Mars passing through his domicile, we may be weaponizing poisons against others, or others against us. The highest manifestation of Mars in Scorpio is to fearlessly face accumulated and ignored problems, like poisons that have been allowed to fester, and energetically wipe them out. Natally, this is a very powerful placement, inward and yin, but no less mighty for that. It is an aggressive sign for Mars, in the natal chart, quiet and strategic with hidden emotional depths. September 22nd, the Sun enters Libra. Sun's entry into the 3rd cardinal sign marks the beginning of autumn in the northern hemisphere. The Sun conjoins Mercury and is only about 10 degrees away from the Moon, which has just embarked on a new cycle. There is the sense of something new being born now, as we see from the ongoing Venus-Mars sextile, which is still very much an orb in this Libra ingress. Venus and Mars represent a highly fertile combination that suggests new possibilities coming into being, even if we can't yet see them. In many ways, this autumn will be about the unfolding of the events triggered by the solar eclipse at 29 Virgo. One door closes and another opens. September 23rd, the Sun at about 1 Libra opposes Neptune, trines Uranus, and trines Pluto. This is the Sun activating the configuration between Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. We could see the start of this process on the 21st, during the eclipse, when the Sun, while eclipsed, opposed Saturn. Now it's completing the pattern, and we could see the fruits of the eclipse emerge. September 24th, Mars at 1 Scorpio squares Pluto in Aquarius. This is a harsh aspect, and apart from this week's eclipse, the most weighty of all the aspects this week. It's a violent combination, as is true for Mars and Pluto, and suggests a potentially hidden subterranean form of violence or repression that now manifests. There's something in this combination of Scorpio and Aquarius suggesting the great hunter, the Titan Orion, being stung by the scorpion, a great force being brought down by an equally great adversary, resulting in an era or epoch changing. In terms of personal behavior, it's important to avoid being caught up in conflicts and neither embodying Pluto, the behind-the-scenes power broker, nor Mars, the fighter. This is going to be an ugly brawl, and it is critical to stay out of it. September 24th, Mercury has his evening rise at 11 Libra. Mercury now emerges out of the sun's beams, and all that he has been cooking while with the sun now comes into full view. It would seem that the news is primarily economic. Since Mercury emerges into the sign of Libra, the merchant scales, though sometimes we get important verdicts and other legal news as well. Generally, this is an opportunity for us to step into the limelight with our own news, announcements, negotiations, and other mercurial activities that are ready to go public. Obviously, if we have important planets or points near 11 Libra in our own charts, this will be especially true. Thanks for watching. I'm Nina Gryphon, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel.